Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to another Tea and Tarot Time with Julie. Hello, it's nice to be back with you. All right, my beautiful people, we are here to nourish your life and feed your soul. I've had a couple of questions come up, well, more than a couple. I've had quite a few of you ask me recently, how do I get out of this situation? How do I free myself from this situation? Whether it's a toxic family member, a partner, a job, anything that where you feel trapped. So I want to have a look at that today. So if this resonates for you, then it's for you. If it doesn't resonate for you, if you don't feel that you are trapped in any way, fantastic. If you do, let's have a little look, because I want to ask my spiritual team about this, and we're going to pull some cards to get some guidance. All right, my lovely people, so let's have a little look. How do you free yourself from anything that is, or anyone that is toxic? Okay. So my personal beliefs are that when something is right for you, there may be a soul lesson here for you, a soul contract here for you. And when you are in that contract, then it just feels, I have to be here. I have to be here. Now, that could be, all right, they want me to talk about this. Let me come back up and talk to you. All right. This could be that an adult child has moved back in with you and you want to move home, you want to relocate, you want to move into a retirement complex and you can't because you've got an adult child living with you. Whether this is you are taking care of elderly, frail, unwell parents or aunts, uncles, outer family members, close family members, and you feel like, I just want my life back, but I can't. I want you to feel into it because there's two different energies here. All right. I'm trying to explain. How can I explain this, please? Thank you. Okay. One energy is that this feels hard, but it feels right. All right. And that is because there is a soul contract there that every part of you says, I don't care how hard this is, I have to do this. I have to see this through. Right. That's a soul contract and I want you to follow it. All right. It's how do you know? How can you tell the difference? And it is because every part of you, even though you know it's hard, even though you know it's a struggle, every part of you says, I just have to do this. Right. That's a soul contract. Let's look at the other side of it. Every part of you hates every single second and, well, most of it, and just feels like I can't because I don't want to upset somebody else. I can't because I don't want to let somebody else down. I can't because of limitations with money or home or some other outside force, right? When those outside forces are dictating, then it's not right for you. All right. When it's a soul contract, it's coming from within. It's coming from inside you that says, I have to do this. My elderly father or mother has got dementia and I don't want to put them in a home and I feel I have to be their caretaker. And it just feels I have to do this. It feels right. It's coming from inside. Now, when it's coming from outside, what would people think? What would people say? I can't let people down. I'd be a terrible person. Then that is coming from fears and doubts and programming and judgment from, your perception of the world. And so those are the ties that we're looking to break. Okay. I would never encourage you to break a soul contract. Right, and I will perhaps do a class or a course on soul contracts. I've written a lot about it in my new book, but that's not going to be out until next year. But when there isn't a soul contract, then we are just stuck because of our own beliefs. And so how do we break them? Okay. I had an email today from somebody saying that, they're in retirement and they would love to move and sell it, but they can't because their adult child moved in with them back in March this year. and they just are praying and hoping that that adult child will find their own accommodations so they can get on with their lives. That is not a soul contract. That is feeling a belief that as a parent, I've always got to parent my child, even if they're in their 30s or 40s or even 50s. No, you don't. Okay. No, you don't. Your obligation finished many decades ago, and it's all right for you to say, you're holding me back and I want you to move out, and to give them a date, and it don't have to be tomorrow. It could be 3 months or 6 months, but you say, I'm putting my life first. I'm putting what's right for me first, because you have your own contract, your own soul contract with yourself. And if it is right for you to move on, every part of you will be feeling, I want to move. So this thing of, I can't because of my adult child living with me, that is something that is needing to be released. There's another email I had over the Christmas period from somebody saying, my family is utterly toxic and I have no idea how to distance myself from them. Is it allowed? Is it okay? Yes, it's allowed, and yes, it's okay. All right, so let's pull some cards on this to give you a little bit more guidance. But it really comes down to one thing. Can you give yourself permission to say, I'm doing what's right for me? I need to follow what's right for me. And that is not selfish. It is my own contract with myself, with my happiness, with my purpose, with my fulfillment. Okay? All right. So this is the wisdom of the oracle. We've got chaos and conflict. Come to the edge and peace. All right. Now, I also want to get some energy oracle cards out. I don't know if we're using tarot today, but they'll tell me what they want me to do. Okay. Excuse me, I'm getting over quite a nasty cold. Okay, 6th chakra. There's your intuition with Archangel Metatron. The world. And we have 2 here. Attachment and contract. Do you know anybody think I was psychic? I love it. All right. That's what they want to talk about. So let's talk about them. I'm going to come up here and talk to you about these. All right. So don't you just love it, the way the cards reinforce? Because these messages are intuitive, and I am, I've been saying to my team, should I do a video on this? They're like, yes. Okay. So we're looking at any situation where you feel trapped, where you feel attached, where you feel, oh, I can't, I'm not allowed, it would be wrong. Okay, hang on a minute. Thank goodness for the mute button, because I had to have a cough. All right, I'm not quite over this cold yet, but I wanted to talk to you, and I feel fine. It's just a little bit, you know what I mean. All right, so let's look at these. Okay, chaos and conflict with the 6th chakra, Archangel Metatron. Now, the 6th chakra is your 3rd eye. It is the intuition. It is your inner guidance. Right, so what is the inner guidance saying? Now, people often think that if there's a soul contract, that it means that it feels right all of the time, that it's flowing, that it feels happy. There's often a soul contract that takes you into challenges and difficulties in order for you to grow. And you might think, what's the universe doing to me? Your soul agreed to these experiences and lessons in order to learn and grow and overcome and stretch and all sorts of wonderfulness, which we don't feel at the time, but the soul loves it. All right. So your 3rd eye is your connection between your higher self and your heart, your soul, your inner being. That intuition is guiding you and telling you what to do. Okay. But we don't listen, do we? We don't listen, and then we get this chaos and conflict because we go into this resistance. And it's the resistance. I can't, it's impossible. What would people think? That resistance is holding you back. And it's that resistance that's causing the chaos and the conflict. You may well believe that the chaos and the conflict is coming from the toxic family member, or that situation where you feel trapped, oh, it's because I keep falling out with these people and they're so horrible and I just don't know how to get out of it. And you might put that chaos and conflict outside of yourself. We tend to do that, don't we? But you would be wrong. Sorry, but you would. Chaos and conflict comes from within, always, all right, always. When we are surrounded by toxic people that we are constantly falling out with, the actual situation is a reflection back to inside of us of the resistance that we're going through by resisting letting them go. And so bring that awareness into yourself and say, who am I actually fighting with here? Am I fighting with these family members or that boss or that colleague I work with? Am I actually fighting with them? Or am I fighting with myself? Because every part of my inner being, my intuition, is saying, get the hell out of Dodge and just avoid these people. But there's that part of me that says, I can't, I'm not allowed, I'd be such a bad person. So I want you to just turn it inwards and ask your soul, would I be a bad person, or am I actually not following my own soul path? You know, I watched a video the other day by Stella Wilde. I do like Stella Wilde. And it was a personal chatting video about the place that she lives. And she was talking about, she was talking about the way that we resonate with a place geographically and it feels right. And when we're living in the wrong place, every part of us knows it. But sometimes we feel I have to be here for a while. I need to be here to see this through. And then when this through is finished, whatever it is, it's like the relief of I can go now. I can leave this place. All right. So it can be geographical. I did it when I moved back to Wales a few years ago. I didn't want to go, but every part of me said, you need to do this. So I'm like, okay, it felt an inner calling to do it. So I followed it. I wasn't particularly happy in that area. It didn't feel right for me, but I needed to be there. And I was there for 3 years while I was giving certain support and creating certain things that I needed to be there to do. And then it just felt like this is done. You can go now. You can go back down to Devon where you feel you belong and you feel home. And so I did, all right? So that 3 years, I constantly was questioning, what the hell am I doing here? You know, but it's like, this is why you're here. All right. I'd put a lot of things in place for my elderly parents and lots of different things that I needed to do. And then it felt like that was wrapping up loose ends, tying up karmic cycles, completing some form of soul contract. And now it's down to you. Off you go. Go and do your thing now. All right. But this is what I'm trying to help you to see. When it's coming from internal, even when it didn't feel comfortable for me to live there, didn't feel me anymore. You know, I'd been gone 30 years. It didn't feel like I belonged there. I felt like a fish out of water. It felt uncomfortable, but it didn't mean to say it was wrong. Yeah. My inner being, my intuition says, you need to be here. We'll kind of let you know when it's done. And it did. About 3 years, like, right, you can go now. Okay. So come back to the beginning of this video when I said there's 2 reasons that you're in a situation that's uncomfortable. One is because it's a soul contract and it feels in your inner being, I need to see this through. And the other, every part of you says, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And what's holding you back is outside beliefs, all right? And I want you to dissolve those because it's that that's creating the resistance. So let's look back then at this next 2. Come to the edge and the world, all right? Come to the edge and the world. The world in the energy cards is not the same as the world in tarot, all right? The world in tarot, the world card, the last major arcana in tarot means a completion of a cycle, the finishing of a major cycle, it's done. Now, in the energy cards, it means something a little different. It's about a broader perspective. It's not necessarily the end, but it's about looking at things from a much higher perspective. When you look at him, that's the magician there, by the way, okay? He is looking at the earth from a different perspective. He might be stood on a spaceship, he might be stood on a different planet, he might be stood in a different dimension. We don't know. What we do know is that he has been able to zoom right out so that he can see the whole picture. And so what you're being asked to do is just that. Zoom out. Why am I in this situation? Why do I believe these things I believe? Why do I believe that I have to continue putting up with a situation that makes me very uncomfortable? Can I come to the edge, which is a card about taking a risk, all right? Peer over the parapet, take a leap of faith. She's not taking the leap of faith yet, all right? She's coming to the edge and she's examining something from a different perspective. As we do that, we drop the resistance. When we zoom out and we can see things from a broader perspective, that resistance goes, right? As the resistance goes, we can come into this peace, okay? Let me just show you here. Right, the egg of peace with the dove of peace above it. So number 23, that's a 5. 5's about change. What can I change in order to bring myself peace? Now I'm talking to those of you who are in that situation where you can't find your peace because you're living your wrong life. You're in the wrong place, or you're putting up with stuff you shouldn't be putting up with. You're doing things you don't really want to do. Your heart's not in it. Then you can't find your peace because that inner being is screaming at you to let that go, to let that attachment go, to follow your own sense of contract, right? This contract is like the Justice card, okay? The scales are perfectly balanced. Now, we talked about at the beginning, a soul contract where even though it feels uncomfortable, this feels right, all right? Even though it's hard and it's tough, it feels right. In that video with Stella Wild, she was saying she'd moved to this different place for 3 years to look after her father who had dementia and stayed there until he passed, and then she moved back and it felt right for her. That was a perfect example, which is why I'm using it, of a soul contract. Even though it was hard, she didn't enjoy being there. It must have been really tough going through that time, looking after her dad. Every part of her said, I need to be here. This feels right. Yeah, it was a soul contract. Now, when you don't have that inner calling, it's not a soul contract, it's an attachment. Okay, see the way she's chained and she's looking at that mask, and it's a number 5. This is saying, I need to make some changes. Why am I attached to this? All right, why do I believe this? Why is this holding me back? Why am I allowing it to hold me back? What about my own contract with myself? What about my own soul contract? Yeah, because you do. All of us have a contract here. We have a purpose. We have a mission, all right? All of us. And so sometimes actually they're saying always, when you are putting somebody first at your detriment, when it doesn't feel right to do this, you are ignoring your own soul contract and your soul is screaming at you. Okay, so I want you to look at, for those of you who feel like I'm trapped, this is those of you that I'm talking to, all right? I feel stuck, I feel trapped. I want you to look at that. Look at that contract, okay? Sometimes the lesson in there for the soul is being able to learn to let go. Perhaps it's a job that you absolutely hate and you say, well, I can't leave because I've had conversations with somebody fairly recently over the last month or so in that circumstance and in that situation. And I was trying to help them to see that actually financially they're in a very strong position and they could easily leave that job, but they couldn't see it. They just couldn't see it. All right. I looked at their assets, which are significant, with their ability to realize and actualize other assets, which were significant, but they could not see that at all. They were attached, very attached to material things at the detriment of their health and well-being, and insisted on continuing in that job. And that's okay. You can lead a horse to water. You can't make him drink, okay? You can try and help people see, and I can try and help you guys see where you feel attached and, try to help you see a different perspective, but only you can do that. Only you can zoom out. One of the things that can be helpful is to ask yourself, how would I feel if I'm in this exact same situation in 5 years' time? Because that will usually give you your answer. When the answer is a horrified, oh my God, no way, I can't do this for another 5 years, that's very telling. All right. So zoom out and give yourself a time limit. Give yourself a restriction. Say, okay, I'm going to work on this over the next few months. I'm going to work on it. I'm going to work on letting go of this attachment and freeing myself to meet my own contractual obligations for my own soul and my own well-being. You see, one of the things is that your soul will very rarely lead you head first into a world and life at your detriment where your well-being gets worse and worse and worse. I want you to really question everything and then simply give yourself permission. I resist. I'm letting go. I'm not going to resist anymore. I'm just going to allow myself to put myself first. If your belief is that that is selfish and it is wrong, you won't be able to do it. If your belief is this is self-care, self-preservation, you will be able to do it. All right. Final message from the angels then. I hope this has been helpful, and not all of you will agree with what I'm saying, and that's all right, okay? We have very fixed beliefs about what is right and what is wrong, and so question them, always. And from the angels, joy. Can you allow yourself, because that's what it's about, allowing, can you allow yourself to find your own joy, to find a life that is joyful for you? Can you allow yourself to put your own needs first? The universe, the angels, your soul, your guides, and God want you to be happy. And so ask yourself, where is my joy? And where am I sacrificing it for others? Is that in my highest good? Is this a soul contract? Or is this simply me being scared to death to follow my own path? All right, my beautiful people, I hope that was helpful. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you soon. Lots of love. Bye-bye.